Welcome back, attendees. It's time now for our second session. Let's start with our much awaited panel discussion for the session, which is on technological advancements, constructing profitable projects, assessing viability with storage. In this team panel, we have Ms. Rita Allen, Senior Associate, Vincent Mason, who is also the moderator for this session. Mr. Rizwan Razak, CTO, Huawei. Mr. Gonzalo Guanelo, Middle East Area Manager, Longi Solar. Mr. Laurent Longet, CEO and co-founder, Siraj Power. Mr. Sami Homsi, Senior Manager, Sales, Eki Energy Service Limited. Welcome all the panelists on the screen, and I'm handing over the session to Ms. Rita. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Anand, and welcome everyone to the Middle East Rooftop Solar Congress 2022. Today's session 2 is about technological advancements, constructing profitable projects and assessing viability with storage. I'd like to welcome my esteemed panelists today and thank our partners Longi, Huawei, and Central Clean Energy Business Council. My name is Rita Allen. I'm a senior associate in Dubai office of Vincent Masons. We're an international law firm and we have great expertise in rooftop solar and renewable projects across the region, having been awarded Middle East Solar Industry Association's Law Firm of the Year award for 4 years in a row. Our in-depth expertise allows us to advise all players in these projects, and we welcome working with panelists such as ourselves today. Sami, can I hand over to you to introduce yourself and then pass on to the other colleagues today?
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Sami Homsi. I'm from Jordan. I'm working with the Inking International in Jordan and in MENA region. Inking International is an Indian-based company that's working in the environmental services. Mainly in voluntarily carbon credits. We are the largest carbon credit developer and supplier in the world, and we have multiple projects in more than 40 countries. So mainly we help companies achieve their ambitions, environmental ambitions by reducing their greenhouse gas emissions or by offsetting their carbon emissions. This is mainly the introduction, and I will be happy to answer your questions and join this panel session. I would like to also thank Solar Quarter for doing this event and talking about how can we actually make solar projects or renewable energy projects more profitable, and that's how I will interrupt by introducing carbon credits and generating these revenues for such projects.
Thank you, Sami. I'd like Laurent to introduce himself, please.
So good afternoon all. My name is Laurent Longuet. From the accent, I'm sure you have realized I'm French. I'm the CEO of Siraj Power. Siraj Power is a company we founded in 2015 with the aim to develop in the distributed generation solar and in the Middle East region. We are currently one of the leaders in that field, having a portfolio over 100 megawatts, essentially in the UAE, but we are now expanding quickly in the rest of the region. We are in Saudi, we are in Oman, and we are proposing basically solutions to on-grid and off-grid clients looking to offset part of their carbon, part of their fossil fuel consumption to solar, and we offer them solutions, fully financed solutions. So not only they offset CO2, but they save on their electricity bill. So that's and today I'm very happy to bring in this panel, in this technical panel or technology panel. I'm happy to bring the views from a developer and not only the technology suppliers.
Great, thank you, Laurent. Gonzalo, please introduce yourself.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Guanelo. I'm the Middle East area manager in Longi Solar. I'm located here in Dubai, which our headquarters for the Middle East is. As most of you already know, Longi Solar is the largest PV module manufacturer in the world. We were established in the year 2000, and since that year, we have been growing significantly until today. Last year in 2021, we were able to ship more than 38 gigawatts, and it was the world record. I have never been, the industry have never seen like such volume of sales in one single year, and we are currently, expanding to different geographies, opening new offices, increasing the size of the team to be able to reach every corner of the world. No matter where you are, our intention is to be your supplier, not only for utility scale, but also for rooftop, which is the main topic of today. And we are happy to discuss today about the technology, the products, and how to improve, how to reach a greener world in the Middle East.
Great, thank you for that. And last but not least, Rizwan, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, and apologies from my side. My microphone is, my video was having a few issues this morning. I hope you're all well. My name is Rizwan. I'm the CTO for the Middle East region for Wuwei Technologies. We are an equipment supplier for the solar projects, specifically for the inverters and the energy storage equipment, which we are introducing in the last year to our portfolio of products. So helping customers in really maintaining a more renewable footprint with our expertise of over 20 years of power conversion equipment within the sector itself. Thank you very much.
Great. So let's go to our key discussion points for today. Taking the developer's perspective, one important thing to consider in any large project is the procurement practices. And those practices adopted by rooftop developers and EPCs are obviously key to success on such projects. Ultimately, this will be done by evaluating supplier credentials, suitable inspections, qualification mechanisms, checking suppliers' reputations in the market, a suitable onboarding process, and so on. And I'd like to hear your views on how those practices succeed and fail in practice and where you see some opportunities for us to enhance processes. Rizwan, you're just spoken. Perhaps you can add some comments to this issue and we'll go round in a circle.
Perfect, thank you. So let's give an aspect of a solar project specifically, and looking at individual items such as panels, inverters, structures, etc. We've really got to look at the assessment not just on a capex level, which generally gets done, which I've seen quite commonly in this region, and coming from a European background, specifically the UK, where technology is slightly more advanced, I would say, in terms of the solar industry itself, and the processes and understanding of that full process is done to a level of looking at the LCOE factor, looking at the OPEX assessments of the projects themselves, to really understand, does such equipment really provide that value in terms of that asset itself? And this sometimes gets missed in the technologies that are being introduced. Module technology specifically is moving very quickly in its, let's say, size of wattage per meter squared. And the technology such as the inverters have had to adopt very quickly to that. Other advancements such as the bifacial gains, it needs to be assessed based on the regional level as well. So then there needs to be a learning curve and also, let's say, site-specific testing and evaluation processes that need to be done from my perspective. And when it comes to the inverter, as we generally drill down to most of our customer base and end customers themselves, is that we really need to assess from a project level, as the competitors in the market may be able to provide a more competitive pricing. However, from a value added on, as I mentioned earlier on, LCOE, that's one of the key drivers in bringing a better solution for the overall global needs of renewables.
Thank you, Rizwan. That is very interesting insights. I'd like to think about those procurement perspectives from a sales manager. Sami, could you offer some comment as well?
Hello. Yeah. In when you want to develop a solar project, you have to take the approval from electricity company or from the government to install such projects. So when you have a couple of projects which are on pipeline, and especially in the case of Jordan, sometimes you apply for these connection agreement with the electricity company, and they refuse it after you contract with the client, and that mainly makes a big issue, because you'll not be able to know what kind of items you need to for what kind of projects, because it's pending on a governmental entity, and that makes a big problem in this region or in Jordan. But as suppliers such as Longi or Huawei or any other supplier, they try to oversupply these products in this market within the models that they offer, and that solves the issue for the procurement. But sometimes we do face these problems. Coming from a solar business development background, it used to make a huge issue for us, and also in Jordan recently, they have talked about changing the regulation. So if you want to install rooftop project, you have to install storage with it, and that makes a big problem for suppliers to supply the demand if this motion is put in action. This is mainly my point of view on procurement problems and how can we solve it. So I will leave the room for other speakers.
Thanks very much, Sami. Laurent, Sami has mentioned here some of the practical challenges in relation to approval processes and focusing on the electrical companies involved. As co-founder of Siraj Power, perhaps you can speak to that topic.
Yes, so definitely for a developer, we have a different approach to the selection of suppliers for the main component, compared probably to some EPC companies, in the sense that we are selecting components that will help generate revenues to us for the next 15-20 years. So it's not only a matter of capex, or it's not at all a matter of capex only, but it's a matter of the values that we can expect and generate out of 20 years from this equipment. So that's a very important factor when making a selection. The second aspect, it's a bit specific to the distributed generation. We are not selecting component that we will install on a large plant, where a dedicated maintenance team will be allocated, and where the size is such that spare parts, etc., can be managed by on this asset only. On the distributed generations portfolio, such as what we do, we have only in Dubai we have more than 200 roofs. And we have to operate, maintain these roofs, and we cannot afford to have 200 different suppliers. We cannot afford to have 200 different type of inverters. We must as well have a strategy in making sure that we kind of standardize as much as we can. So in terms of training for our O&M teams, in terms of spare parts, in terms of long-term maintenance, we can be efficient, we can be competitive. So that's two aspects, and that's why, as in Siraj, what we have tried to do since the beginning, instead of focusing on every project, finding the cheapest supplier or the cheapest product, or etc. We have tried to focus on partnerships. So we have selected some suppliers. I'm talking about the main components here, PV panels, structure, inverters, and we have tried to, and some of them are by the way, in this panel today. And we have tried to develop this kind of long-term partnership with them, the way that we know that they are competitive. We know that they will be able to supply what we need in due time. They know that they will get a certain continuous business with us on the long term as well. And after being partners, we know that when there are some adverse matters or some challenges, we can stay together and resolve them. So that's very much the approach we have had as a developer and as a DG developer, I would say, to try to tackle the different challenges we face in the region.
Thank you very much, Laurent. Before I move to the next question, Gonzalo or anyone else on the call wish to jump in, Rizwan, about this topic and the procurement practices?
Well, we believe that in Longi, we believe that to select the right partner is always extremely important. We know that there are plenty of suppliers in the market. We have tier 2 and tier 1 suppliers, and the problem is that if you don't rely or you don't trust 100% your manufacturer, you will face issues in the short term. So we always want to follow a long-term strategy with clients, and I think clients want to follow the same because it's the only way to avoid these issues that the market still has, because it's quite new. Despite we have been talking about renewables for the past years, the reality is that it's not mature. It's not mature enough compared to others. For example, in terms of raw materials, we don't have like any way of hedging the raw material. In the case of the module, we are talking about markets, for example, that they are not similar to gold or silver. We're talking about polysilicon. We are talking about different AVA, different components of modules that they are not mature enough, and therefore the only way to be protected against this kind of impacts is working with big companies that have capacity and they are willing to cooperate on a long-term basis with clients. We cannot hear you, Rita. It's mute.
Apologies. Thank you for those comments. It really strikes me that long-term relationship is fundamental to the success of all your relationships, as well as the projects that underpin them. That takes us to the second discussion point then, which is how is longevity of rooftop solar projects ensured without compromising on quality in light of rising component prices and the low tariffs. And really these common themes that we see is that by working together in a partnership approach, you can anticipate and oversee in partnership with your developers the likely anticipated challenges as much as you can. Laurent, probably you've got the most long-standing experience of that in this region, and I wonder if you could contribute your thoughts on this topic, please.
Yes, maybe to build on what I was mentioning about these partnerships and then this long-term approach we try to have. Nevertheless, it's I think it's key for the development of this industry and for the development of the solar in general. It's key to be competitive, and so the price and competitiveness from our partners is essential. Today we see solar growing fastly in the region and worldwide, I would say, mainly because it's competitive. Of course, it brings it brings it helps saving the planet. But having been in this business for the last 10 years, I can't remember having ever met a client saying, you know what, bring me solar, I want to save the planet. I've never met such kind of client. All the clients I have met have told me, bring me a solution which helped me to save on my bill. And by the way, if we can save the planet, I'm happy to do so as well. So that's why it's essential for this industry to continue to work on being more and more competitive, to be capable to bring solutions to clients, not only to grid connected clients and utility scale and utilities as some competitive solution, because we are already there. But it's important to continue working on the competitiveness to bring others, so those not connected to the grid, where you need to bring them more complex solution combining solar and batteries, or so to bring these people some solutions where they can save on their electricity bill. Because again, if you are not capable to bring savings, it does not work. And I think as a company, it's our duty to find solutions to continue growing. And as personally, if I have been working in this industry for so long, it's as well because I trust that what we do is really participating into fighting the climate change. So this is important as well personally to me, to make sure that we are capable to be more and more competitive, to grow and increase the number of companies and people that could be interested in going solar. So that's why we constantly have discussions with our partners on how to not only to reduce their costs, but to increase the value we get out of their products. So typically, when we talk about PV panels, we have seen some new technology being introduced recently, bringing additional energy. We have seen as well from inverter suppliers, some over the last years have increased the size of their string inverters to allow us to reduce on the cost of installation and the cost of cables. And it's essential they continue to do so, because by doing so, they will help us to offer more attractive tariff and eventually to grow the number of people going solar.
Thank you very much. Yes, there is that tension, isn't there? The low tariff pressure and the constant drive to ensure good quality and appropriate choices for the project needs. Sami, could you contribute some thoughts on that from your perspective?
Yes. Since solar is not actually really new, like for Jordan, we have projects that have been, working since 10 years. So it's pretty much livable, Most manufacturers give 25 years of guarantee on solar panels, which is the main major expense for this project. And the main enhancement that we see in recent years are, the efficiency of the panel and the dimensions of the panel to fit whatever project you have. So now in this time you have a variety for solar panels, for inverters that will help bring that will help increase the efficiency of the solar project in this for a specific project. As Laurent said, that not nobody, but minor people install solar panel for help saving the environment. But as we saw in COP26, there is a movement on, the keeping alive the 1.5 degree Celsius because of the climate change that we see, and with new technologies going into place, which have high prices. So if you want to install storage, or if you're talking about hydrogen or whatever technology there is, if you want to lower the levelized cost of electricity for such projects, you can gain carbon finance or revenue from carbon certification in order to help make this project alive, because sometimes it's not feasible for solar projects to be implemented with this kind of technology for a specific project. But with using the voluntary carbon markets, you can gain extra revenue to push new technology, and when you push this new technology, eventually the price will decrease, as we saw. The solar project, if you want to install it 10 years ago, it was maybe twice, 3 times the price that's today. And actually countries being really committed to install as much renewable energy projects within that country, like that will help also to reduce this levelized cost of electricity and increase profitability for such projects. This is my intervenient for this topic, and I think I'll pass to next speaker.
Yes, thank you very much, Sami. Rizwan, that was an interesting set of comments from Jordan, but what has your experience been?
Yeah, so from a product perspective, going back to the inverter itself, the capacity and the market has changed quite rapidly in the last 10 years, and as we all know, modules themselves have doubled, if not more, in terms of their capacity, in terms of their square wattage per square meter. And then looking at the inverter capacity, those have increased. However, everything will get to a certain threshold in order to become viable and also fixed to the solar market itself. So from an inverter perspective, yes, we are shifting towards larger, higher density units. However, there will become a time from a product perspective that the threshold gets hit. So for example, for our rooftop sector, our largest capacity inverter is 100 kilowatts. And knowing that, we've assessed the market of looking at providing larger capacity inverter. However, from let's say a weight and also from a performance perspective, we've also got to assess that on what that impacts the full solar system itself. So we are, continuously innovating the product, but also embedding more features in terms of the product itself. So, as was mentioned earlier on, the inverter is getting to a higher density, but features such as PID recovery functions. You're looking at the safety aspect of a solar system itself. So AFCI functionality built inside, and all of these embedded features that we are now incorporating are things to further help on that LCOE factor and reduce that OPEX cost on the system itself. And specifically for rooftop areas itself, safety is more of a hazard because you are typically installing it on somebody's property which they're potentially either living or working in, and from a safety aspect, these are quite key concerns that from an end user perspective needs to be in more of a comfortable situation rather than just deploying solar quite rapidly onto these rooftop areas.
Thank you, Rizwan. You mentioned there some very interesting technological advancements, and that strikes me as a neat lead into our third topic, which is what are the advancements in module manufacturing and inverter production technology that are leading to long-lasting rooftop solar PV projects. I'd like to ask Gonzalo to comment on this from Laurent's perspective, please.
Yeah, so that's a very good question, because we saw in the past years that, particularly since last year, that many module manufacturers, they started producing bigger modules and therefore bigger wafers in a way of optimizing the BOS, to reduce the LCOE cost. The reality is that we as Longi, we got the conclusion that we need to find the right size. Bigger is not always the best solution in terms of modules, and therefore we conclude together with other manufacturers that 182 millimeters will be the maximum size, and that we should consider when we are installing modules, and then we can play with the number of cells depending on the requirements of the client. So in the particular case of rooftops, we have multiple products that can adapt to different sizes. Usually what you can see in the market is 54, 60, 66, maximum 72. Here in the Middle East, because of the space is enough, and there is plenty of infrastructures and big buildings with big rooftops, there is no shortage of space in many cases. So the majority of the times we are installing 72 cells. However, it's true that in some villas or some smaller buildings, we can consider smaller modules. But I want to remark that our intention is to focus on efficiency and technology. Again, we understood that what happened in the past 2 years with bigger module sizes is not going to happen anymore, at least for the next coming years. And the market will be extremely focused on technology and improving the efficiency. For example, in our case, we expect to launch new products on the next exhibition in SNEC, which is going to take place by the mid or end of May in Shanghai. And we expect to launch new products with higher power, higher efficiency, and therefore, to improve the LCOE, so the whole market can benefit of it.
Thank you, Gonzalo. Perhaps Sami could comment on that as well before we move to the final topic.
Yes. I, from my personal perspective, I see that PV manufacturer companies are doing their best in making different models for, as I say, different projects, because not all projects are rooftop, not all projects have space. Some of them are put in land. Some of them are, constructed on rooftop. So the varieties that we can see and the improvements that they actually do on the PV panel, it's astonishing actually to see where we reached now. When you look back to 3 years ago or 4 years ago, you will see that there was a huge improvement in the PV sector, PV manufacturers sector, and also the solar inverters. They're trying to do their best to make it affordable and profitable for, mainly most clients or all clients to install solar projects to benefit from actually harvesting the solar radiation and generating clean energy and help save our planet. So best efforts are being done by these manufacturers and suppliers, and I thank them for help saving the environment and bringing us to a greener future.
Thank you, Sami. And touching finally on this client's perspective there, Laurent.
Yes, no, I think nothing really to add to what my friends added. Again, I think innovation is innovation for us is key, and we really expect a lot from our partners in terms of bringing new technology. We are happy if we look back to 5 years ago, or 6 or 7 years ago, actually, when we started this company, we are already very happy to see that a lot of progress and innovation have been brought to it. 7 years ago, when we started this business, the largest inverter was like, what, 20-25 kilowatt. Today we are capable to install inverters which are 4-5 times bigger, having a better efficiencies. The same for PV modules. We have seen the trend to go from poly to mono and bifacial, and now the N-type technology and larger PV modules, cheaper and more efficient. So keeping this trend of in terms of innovation is really essential for us, and we are happy to hear that we will see and hear from them very soon, and see new innovations on coming to town. So good to read that.
Thank you, Laurent. So our final query is just to consider what have been the new advancement in the storage sector. Obviously, there are competing technologies on the market, and it remains to be seen which will win out in the long term. But the decision has to always focus on which inverters will make the rooftop solar PV the most commercially viable for both the commercial and the industrial consumers. And we've heard Laurent's perspective here from a local power company perspective. But Rizwan, have you had a competing series of feedback, and how do you see the market trends developing in this area?
Yeah, so energy storage specifically is something that is coming, specifically for the Middle East. I would say that it's not here right now, but it's something that is growing and is becoming, as I say, the noise has started already within the industry. We've last year recently been awarded a very large utility scale project called the Red Sea, and that's now under processing of being deployed. And these larger scale projects will, from my perspective, become more used and widely used within this Middle Eastern region specifically. We are, as a supplier perspective, already having the residential energy storage components available, very, very popular within the European market. However, with the cost of electricity and the mindset of the expat community being in the Middle East, the, let's say, drive towards energy storage and becoming kind of carbon neutral it is not seen to be very popular just yet. But I do see the aspect of a bit more marketing, market awareness. This will become a growing market for not only the residential sector, but the utility scale as well. And just to kind of give clarity for people that are listening in, we are bringing in as Huawei a CNI energy storage product as well. It's just not there just yet. With anything within Huawei, we do make sure that the product is fully developed and engineered from its full life cycle perspective before bringing it to market. So you may be aware that other vendors are already bringing these kind of products out, but we are a market leader, not only in the inverter business but in the telecom equipment. So we need to make sure that it is completely to the best quality that the market needs.
Thank you, Rizwan. Yes, I think technology and artificial intelligence will be more and more first and foremost in the future. In terms of the technological advancements, then, Longi's perspective, Gonzalo, please.
Well, in terms of technology, as I said before, I can tell you, I can give you this information now. I mean, it's going to happen on May, but we will be launching a new product, which is going to be a new technology. We as I said before, we believe is going to be beyond N-type. So our annual investment, it's around $400 million, and at the end of the day, it should have a result, and we hope that this is the fruit and the result of a couple of years of studies. We work with several industrial leaders and labs to prepare this product carefully, and hopefully this new product will be launched by the end of May. We believe it's going to be something different, because the power will be higher than in the case of the N-type, and therefore the LCOE will be lower as well. So I'm gonna give you more details, but on May we will see the new products in SNEC exhibition, and I assume that all manufacturers will launch their own products, but I strongly believe that this will change completely the market.
That sounds fascinating. I look forward to hearing about the launch in May. Sami, can you comment on some of the feedback you're receiving in terms of these exciting solutions?
Okay, so my personal point of view that we shall see, huge investment pushed into, storage technologies, because as my fellow speakers in the first session said that, in Jordan, we are seeing some saturation in solar projects, and also in UAE, and if you reach a point where rooftop client C&I customers cannot install solar projects and benefit from these savings, and it's only on utility scales, that's not really good, because you want to see different projects in different locations, distributed, well distributed, because you will focus on making like small power generators on rooftops, and that will help the grid, but and somehow make it a bit tough for them to handle the grid or operate it. But if we want to enable the 30% on renewable by 2030, such as let's say Saudi natural determination contribution, as they say, they want to reach 30%. It will not be easy without seeing huge investment in storage. So I think now it's time for storage to lower its cost, or by adapting more projects, installing more projects that will reduce the cost of storage. And I'm really happy to know that Huawei is working on a CNI storage system. So that will be really mind-blowing, and it will help a lot of clients getting these approvals if we reach saturation points such as we did in Jordan for other countries in MENA.
Thank you, Sami. And perhaps to bring that wider MENA perspective, I wonder if, Laurent, you can offer any comment and consider whether retrofit or improvement projects for existing plants would also like to take advantage of new up-and-coming storage solutions in the market.
Yeah, we have been working for now some years on how to include storage into the services and product and solutions offered to clients. And actually, in UAE, Saudi, Oman, we don't necessarily believe that there is some kind of urgency to bring this solution for on-grid clients. The grids are very well integrated. The solar penetration overall remains relatively small. But on the other hand, we have seen and identified many clients in these countries not connected to the grid, and where storage is part of the solution. So we have launched recently a new initiative starting in Dubai with a partner called CAFU, CAFU being specialized in logistic and delivering energy on demand, energy to clients, and we are partnering with CAFU with the aim to develop a similar business to what they have done for fuel, but for battery storage. So basically, the service that we start in April, it consists for on-grid clients running today on diesel to put their diesel on the side and to shift to mobile storage units that will be brought to develop the technology, and the management is by Siraj and brought to them by CAFU. So we strongly believe that this offer matches the needs for many clients, and we hope that by bringing this technology to town, by showing that it works and that it can be economic, it will help to go to the next step, which will be to install storage behind the meter and to develop on-grid solution, including batteries. But we have decided in Siraj to start by off-grid, but still going storage, because as I fully agree with Sami and others that it's becoming affordable, it's becoming reliable, and we need this technology again to increase the number of people and companies shifting to solar.
Yes, absolutely, Laurent, I agree. And as we heard also in the first session, the more that there can be an integration of storage, the greater the stability will be, particularly when we see the diversification among the renewables as well. So absolutely. A question to our panel has raised that what will be AI's ML impact on the PV industry? I'll leave that open for any one of the panelists to jump in. Sami or Rizwan?
I did not get what AI ML means, impact on...
I expected artificial intelligence and its impact on the industry. Not sure about ML.
Yeah, if you allow me, just coming back to the solution I was mentioning, this solution, which consists in basically bringing mobile storage solutions to clients, it involves being capable to know when they will need a new battery to be delivered, and it's about developing some predictive algorithm based on their historical data, based on their real-time data, to be capable to know exactly at what time the battery will be empty, at what time we need to bring one, and this is essential. The same in terms of optimizing the delivery when we will have hundreds of units on the road with truck drivers, clients, charging station, etc. Nobody will be capable to identify what is the best and optimized schedule for running the show, and that's where we are now implementing to support this solution. We are implementing some deep learning algorithm and predictive algorithm to be capable to manage such a solution. So for as soon as you add complexity, such as not only having solar but including some battery and managing a large portfolio of clients, solutions, and etc., it will be essential to be capable to include this technology into the picture, to be capable to be again competitive, which is essential to develop this business.
I'd like to just add to that, Laurent, as well. So from a state of health and state of charge aspect, these are technology advancements that Huawei is already incorporating within the ESS equipment. And it does take slightly longer in order to develop this type of technology, and looking at historical projects in the industry, whether from other markets. So we've really embedded this type of modular technology within the energy storage equipment, and embedded it not only for the residential applications but also from the utility scale as well. So this is something that we are including within the product portfolio. And as I said, the C&I applications will be upcoming later this year.
Excellent. I have a question as well to the panel about the emphasis on reuse, recycle, and extract value. We talk a lot about the lifespan of these projects and the underlying modules, etc. Can you comment on the technology solutions that are driving the end-of-use regeneration and extraction of raw values, as well as the decommissioning process and how that's changed over the last 40 years we've had solar panels?
I think, Rita, we can, well, when we talk about the recycling panels, we always work with a company called PV Cycle, which is an association, a European association that is present in many countries in the world, despite they are headquartered in Europe. And it's a very common question that we get from our clients. And the reality is that we have seen in Europe the first factories. Well, it's not like a pure factory, but recycler plants, let's say, that they started recently. For example, I'm from Spain. I know a couple of them in Spain. They started with this kind of service, and they have started with modules that were installed 15, 20 years ago, because right now those have been replaced by new modules even before they reach the end of their life. So the technology is changing. I don't have the details about which chemical process or mechanical process they are using, but the feedback that we get from them is that they are improving year after year, because it's pretty new and they have never recycled before modules. So they told us that in the next 5 years they will be able to recycle up to 99% of the module, because there were some some materials that yet they were not able to recycle easily, but it looks like in the next coming years they will be able to do it.
Thank you. Yes, that's interesting, because I was thinking not only on the solar PV side, but in particular these precious metal usage in the various battery storage solutions. Obviously, there's a extraction cost and a overall use cost, etc. So it's always interesting to consider the end-of-life processes as well.
Yes, and I would like to add something that PV recycling will actually become really popular, because as we see manufacturing actually gigawatts of PV modules, and the PV modules are changing, as we say, from 4 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, there was a huge technology enhancement in regarding this technology. So once you recycle, or you make it more affordable to actually recycle these old modules and replace them with new ones, you will keep on making the project more and more profitable over the years. So I think, yes, we will see some movement in the PV recycling sector, and also I think in the solar inverters we should also see that movement as well.
Yeah, so let's say from an inverter perspective, looking at what the industry has had in the past, centralized inverters, large string inverters. So being a technology provider for over 30 years and coming into the solar market for power conversion equipment, we've really understanding the production line, and then the challenges at the end of use of that particular product. So we've really assessed the product manufacturing assessment of how the components are let's say delivered and then maintained within the unit itself. Looking at technologies of cooling, etc., and how that can be streamlined. So This has already been embedded and part of the process of Huawei from an inverter perspective, and that's why we don't supply centralized, containerized type of solutions for our inverter equipment.
Great, thank you very much, Rizwan. I have a few minutes left, and I want to take that opportunity before we conclude. We have some panelists who need to conclude at 5 today, so I'd like to just take this time to thank each of our panelists for their time on today's call, and thank again our platinum partners, Longi and Huawei, as well as the Clean Energy Business Council for all their support and contributions to today's session. After I thank the authority, I'd like to also thank each of our panelists and offer them the opportunity to provide some concluding remarks today. Laurent, please go ahead.
No, thank you very much for inviting me to this panel. I think it's always a great interest for us to be involved with a technology developer and understand really what's coming, to be capable to anticipate and determine what direction we should take. So thanks to the organizer, and I'm always happy to be part of such kind of panels. Thank you.
Thank you, Laurent. Gonzalo, please.
Yeah, so as Laurent said, thank you all of you for arranging this Congress. I think these kind of initiatives, they are good, and it allows us to discuss about the latest trends in the market. So we should have more and more congresses and opportunities to keep discussing, because I really believe that we can get some conclusions. And I would like to remark that I think 2022 and 2023 will be 2 years of new technologies and the new products that will be launched in the market, not only from Longi, but from other manufacturers. So I will ask our audience and the rest of them to stay tuned, because we will see in the next months some fantastic improvements in LCOEs.
Yes, thank you, Gonzalo. And we've already had some indications of that today, which is really exciting. Before I turn to some conclusions from Sami and Rizwan, I just want to put to the panel a last-minute question, which was about the placing of equipment of roof sheets. We generally do adhesive fixing or clamping, which is the best method to place the inverter on the roof sheet. And I think, Rizwan, you may be well placed to answer this.
Yes, so thank you for the person that asked that question. So from an equipment that we supply, which is the inverter, it's built for all scenarios, whether indoor or outdoor. So we depending on the application itself, being in the Middle Eastern region specifically, where temperatures are to their, let's say, extreme values, we would recommend that the product is installed in a shaded environment, so not in the direct access to the sunlight. As you can understand, with any human being being operated in direct sunlight will be less efficient. So that we would recommend installing the inverter local to the array, so local to the strings themselves. However, keeping it in a shaded environment. So on some applications, we have seen customers install inverters on the roof sheet itself, on the mounting structure. However, they do put a protected cover on top of that inverter, so it is maintained from any derating effects, which is commonly seen in this region.
Perfect. Thank you for that explanation, Rizwan. And please offer your concluding remarks before handing to Sami.
Sorry, I'm not sure if you heard me there. So thank you very much all for listening today. I hope you've all found that fruitful with the module background inverter, along with from Zero Power as well. So thank you all. And if you do have any further inquiries from an inverter or energy storage equipment perspective, please feel free to get in touch with the Huawei team, which is based in Dubai. but we also have our local colleagues in each country across the region. Thank you very much.
Great, thanks, Wissam. And Sami, your conclusion today?
Yes, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you for this event. As PV manufacturing and and the solar inverter manufacturer and EPCs working together to lower their costs on the client and make the project more profitable. Also, we are working in the same space. We are, generating revenues by issuing carbon credits for these projects, and that will help make projects more profitable, regardless if it's in a C&I project or a utility scale project. The voluntary carbon markets can help and is helping, renewable energy projects become more profitable and gaining extra revenue. And thank you everyone for your time, and thank you, Rita.
Great, thanks, Sami. And once again, thank you to all our esteemed panelists and to Anand and the organizers. It's been my pleasure to moderate today's session. I've certainly learned something new, and I hope you have too, and look forward to the developments in the coming year.
Thank you, Rita ma'am. You did an excellent job as a moderator, and we appreciate your willingness to do this. I also thank all the panelists for taking out time from their busy schedule and being a part of this conference. So with this, we have come to the end of day one of Middle East Rooftop Solar Congress. Don't forget to join us tomorrow for an exciting and insightful panel discussion on rooftop solar O&M and asset management, followed by the prestigious awards ceremony. Till then, bye from our end. Now the floor is open for networking. Thank you all.